Similar to our children's ministry, we estimate a need of approximately 8,000 square feet to properly carry off the vision we have for teen ministry. We would like to see the following: a worship area with excellent sound, lighting, stage, and comfortable seating arrangements. A recreation, gaming area and cafe where kids can gather throughout the week, after school, and on the weekends. Numerous discipleship rooms which are comfortable and properly outfitted to facilitate teaching and discipleship. All these areas must have a decor that appeals to teenagers and utilizes modern sound, audiovisual, and technology systems. God has entrusted to us approximately 100 teenagers, and we are located in a part of Palm Bay overrun with teenagers. We believe a teen-friendly area that could be used for consistent outreach events would see those numbers double or even triple. We have a great leadership team in place working with our teenagers, but their hands are tied due to the lack of any dedicated space. If we untie their hands, we are going to be amazed at the impact we can have on the next generation of leaders. We must remember that our youth department is training the next generation of leaders and servants for our church. It is important that we give them the tools that mimic our main worship service so they are properly prepared to take their place in the kingdom service. The needs of our adult ministries are numerous and complex, many of which were identified in the ETV campaign. The two most obvious needs we have are mid-sized spaces for groups of up to 150 people and smaller living room environments that accommodate the many covenant and journey discipleship groups that meet on our campus. One of the key environments we plan to put into this sanctuary complex are numerous rooms designed to mimic a living room, spaces that have couches, comfortable chairs, pleasing decor, and all the electronics needed to host a covenant or discipleship group. This emphasis aligns with our key step in our vision to connect people into biblical community where they can grow in their relationship with Christ and other Christians. These rooms can also be used by our Sunday morning groups, the Best Yet Set, our women's ministry, youth discipleship, and various training classes that we conduct with our adults. It is imperative that all our adult ministries, Best Yet Set, women's and men's ministries, have dedicated space where luncheons, fellowships, and outreach activities can be pulled off effectively, efficiently, and with excellence. We recently experienced the impact our women's ministry can have on lives with the annual Christmas tea. How much more we could do through our women's ministry by supporting the young mothers of our community, offering recovery for those suffering through the pain of divorce, or grief share for the widows in our city. God has gifted us with a great number of mature Christian women who are able to minister to women in these stages of life. What kind of impact could we have on the women of our area if we were the church that aggressively, consistently, and strategically reached out to them? Not just once a year at Christmas time, but all year long. The same is true of our Best Yet Set. We are very encouraged by the momentum we see in our Best Yet Set ministry. This ministry is positioning itself to reach more and more of the retired and empty nesters in our area. Imagine the impact we could have on the empty nesters of South Brevard County if we were the church that in one stop met their physical, social, and spiritual needs. For our adult ministries to reach their potential, we must provide them the space they need to carry out their ministry plans. As identified by the Expanding the Vision Capital Campaign, we have a great need for staff office space, conference rooms, music practice areas, and storage. This complex would be designed to address our needs in these critical areas. One ministry that many of you must be wondering about is Covenant Christian School. Over the last 18 months, the session has spent dozens of hours in prayer and discussions where the sole topic was our day school ministry. We appreciate the cooperative spirit and input we received from the school board, our headmaster, Paul Rumbley, and his entire leadership team. The session has provided leadership to the school board, which clarifies the direction this ministry must take. We are changing our school ministry so that it reflects our church's theological values, reaches out to our community, and aligns with our church's vision of making disciples. We absolutely must graduate young people who are equipped with an excellent academic education and grounded in a biblically reformed worldview. To ensure that these goals are accomplished, at the direction of the session, I currently serve as the chairman of the school board and report back to our session the progress in making these changes. The session recognizes, as most of you do, that the current facilities were built and designed to meet the functional needs of Christian education. Therefore, if you approve all the pieces of this plan and it is fully implemented, the buildings we currently have will be ultimately designated for the primary usage of our school ministry. This will give our Christian school the space it needs to accommodate current and future needs. This clear facility division is also more efficient for scheduling purposes, budget accountability, and facility maintenance. As you can see from the diversity of needs within our children, youth, adult, and school ministries, and the need for us to stop operating in a small to medium-sized church mentality, the day of multi-use, multi-purpose buildings must come to a close. Our desire to worship a God who is holy and transcendent means we dedicate a space to Him in which our children don't play basketball. To have a meaningful impact on the next generation and the adults of our community, our ministry leaders must have spaces they can utilize at a moment's notice, free of the fear that their space has been absorbed by another ministry. When you were a kid, did anyone ever sneak up behind you and tie your shoes together? Possibly when that happened, you fell flat on your face, but in all probability, you were able to hobble, shuffle, and limp along until you reached down and untied your shoes. Well, as a church, we have learned how to walk with our shoelaces tied together. The session believes it is past time to untie those laces and run, not shuffle or hobble into the future. The question is, how do we get there? Well, we have 10.8 acres of land that can accommodate the sanctuary complex and the parking that will be required. We owe $75,000 on this land and believe it is time for us to leverage this property for ministry and community impact. Between now and the time we build a sanctuary complex, we could use this land for our various sports ministry needs. As you can see by this artistic rendering, this property is sufficient for the size complex we have in mind and the parking that will be needed for that complex. It is imperative that we execute all our transition moves and modifications with the end in mind so that we do not unnecessarily modify facilities or spend money that isn't required. Therefore, we are recommending that professionals be employed to develop a master site plan for all our land and present and future facilities. The image you currently see is for illustration purposes only. A master site plan will provide the detail we need to engage architects and obtain approvals from the city of Palm Bay. Let's be praying about that. While it's exciting to think of a future sanctuary complex, we must obtain a level of facility relief immediately. We can't wait until a sanctuary complex is built to create some growing and breathing room for our church ministries. It is imperative that we free up certain spaces so that our children, youth, and adult ministries can function and grow. To create this facility and ministry relief, we must provide a way for CCS to move out of currently occupied spaces. The school leadership team has worked closely with the Land Use Task Force and the session on this issue. It is the session's unanimous recommendation that CCS purchase 6 modular buildings at the cost of $218,000. Our school has the financial reserves and capability to purchase these modulars by paying $4,540 per month for the next 4 years. At the end of this loan period, we will own these buildings, giving us the option to resell them when our need for them is over. These modulars would temporarily reside on the Building F site.